Hi, I'm Eric Calvey, a student athlete at Johnson Community College. I am pursuing a degree that allows me to work with young athletes. I want them to be able to participate safely. Let's talk about how we can protect them from CTE. So, what is CTE, you ask? It is chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or brain degeneration likely caused by repeated head traumas. Although we've been researching this disease for the past century, there's still a lot of things we don't know. What we do know is it is caused by repeated head traumas from things like this: contact sports, military service, those suffering from physical abuse to the head, multiple concussions, or subconcussive head injuries. Why do we care about CTE? CTE can cause a lot of bad symptoms. Symptoms of CTE can be similar to those in other brain disorders and may not show up until years after injuries or even be misdiagnosed. Although it is hard to diagnose before death, the signs and symptoms of those who are suspected of having CTE can be debilitating. There are some symptoms such as memory loss, depression, and aggression. As you see in these pictures, you see severe head trauma, whether it's hockey, football, basketball, soccer, any sport that involves contact. Is our only way of making our youth safe canceling these sports? Or can we find ways and solutions that we can help our youth continue to enjoy and play these sports, but while being safer? Instead of canceling these sports, let me talk about three proposed solutions that I've come up with to prevent our youth athletes from gaining CTE. And as you can see, these rules will be very, very easy to implement. We need to talk about the three proposed solutions that I've come up with. First off, we need to evaluate rules and regulations that can help with concussion protocol to protect our young athletes. Second, we need to evaluate proper gear and fitting for the protection of the head, which would be more like helmets or, padded anything to protect the head area. And three, we need to add funding through participation, adding maybe $2 just so we can, fund CTE research. We need to evaluate rules and regulations for concussion protocol. The first thing we need to do is evaluate past cases of head trauma in youth sports, find a way to review them, and identify ways to make them not happen in the future. We need to help educate parents, officials, athletes, and coaches, or anyone who supports the athletes. We need to implement formal education programs on helping them recognize the signs and symptoms of concussions. And we need to implement return to play guidelines for any head trauma, not just concussions. As we talked about before, there's great education resources, and there's a lot of them out there, such as the CDC Heads Up to Youth Sports program. This program is free and can be implemented into any youth sports program. As we know, safety gear is important. Not only do we need to have the right gear, it needs to fit our athletes properly. All youth programs should hire a professional to fit all athletes properly in their safety gear. And secondly, determine if additional gear should be required to further protect the head. I know gear can be very expensive, but the price of multiple head injuries can be much worse and much higher to our youth in the long run. Lastly, we have to continue to fund CTE research. We know a lot, but there is much more to learn. A simple $2 fee should be added to participation fees. I know fees are already high for some, but we can evaluate options for those who may not be able to afford extra. Why should we implement these three things, you ask? First, sports are a huge part of the American culture. We see through coronavirus what it is like to be without them. Not focusing on safety could be a terrible consequence to the sports culture as we know it. American football has already seen a decline in participation. I don't want to see this happen with other sports. Sports help our youth learn great life skills, so it's important they stick around. Things like how to take feedback, how to work in a team, and how to build a strong work ethic are just some of the teachable moments. We've seen devastating impacts from brain injury caused by CTE, whether it's reduced impulse control, violence, or even suicide. We have to take this seriously in youth sports and do everything we can to help our youth stay safe. Join me in the fight, and thank you.